Hello and welcome to the Barrel House. I am your host, Joe Kane, and today we've got a good one. We're going to be digging in a little bit into some Willett Family Reserve straight rye whiskey. But before we get there, we got some catching up to do. It's been a little bit. You probably noticed the live streams have slowed down a little bit. That's not going to be a permanent thing. Just dealing with some real life and trying to balance things out a little bit. But they're coming back, I promise. Before we dig into all the details and all that, though, I got some pitter-patter for you. This is the pitter-patter portion of the program. Brought to you, the pitter-patter portion of the program, brought to you by Letterkenny. I am getting obsessed with that show? I don't know. I don't have a lot of time to watch, so I'm really only in the first season still, but my friend has been recommending it to me for a long time, a couple of my friends for a long time, and I've just been like, yeah, I'll get to it. Finally had a chance over the holiday weekend to catch a little bit of it, and it's funny. I love it. So if I continue to say pitter-patter or any other weird stereotypical Canadianisms, you can thank Austin and Leah for introducing me to that one. I also went and saw Shang-Chi over the holiday weekend, and man, does it feel good to be back to Marvel stuff, to be back in the full swing of things, to be rocking the MCU. Shang-Chi, I thought it was really good. It wasn't perfect. I could pick a couple things apart if I really wanted to, but it just felt good to be back in the swing of things, rocking like that Marvel budget and those Marvel storylines and seeing the heroes we've all come to know and love. It was really good. So, I won't spoil too much of either Letterkenny or Shang-Chi, but if you out there have been checking out either one of those, hit me up, let me know what you thought. I love discussing the media I have consumed. I've also been playing that new Marvel Future Revolution, I think that's what it's called. I don't know, it's a phone game. While I'm on break at work, at lunchtime or whatever. If you're digging into that, let me know. I'll send you a invite to the Alliance and we'll smash Marvel enemies together. But yeah, I mean, it's really been it. It's been a lot of working and stuff, and I just feel like I've missed you all, and I'm so happy to be back. I love doing the show. I love talking to you, and I'm happy to be back in the suite. I know I'm not that far behind on episodes, whatever, but without the live streams basically every week, it feels like it's been a long time. So I hope you all have been really well. Hope you've been really well, and I'm glad to be back. Today we're doing Willett 4-year Family Estate straight rye whiskey with a little Michters Barrel strength whiskey for a comparison. Is seen as my favorite rye whiskey. Just want to see how it stacks. I know that's a very lopsided comparison, as one is 50 and one is 150 for a bottle, but it'll give us an idea of where I'm at with them. But before we do that, as always, especially now more than ever with my delinquency, it is time to pay the bills. I need to thank everybody over at patreon.com for supporting the show. Patreon.com/barrelhouse, where you can throw me $1 a month, $1 a month. That's not even a shot a month. Goes towards keeping the show flowing and keeping things going, helps keep the bar stocked and the tech running. And I really, really need to thank our Whiskey Legend tier patrons, Greg, Katie, Lauren, and Joe, who are carrying way more than their fair share of the weight and keeping this thing afloat. So I appreciate you all. $1, $5, $20, whatever level you sub at, I appreciate all of you at Patreon. If you want to be a Patreon member, jump over there, patreon.com/barrelhouse. Any level, any amount, it all helps. And then you get to say you're my boss, because I take direct input from everybody over at Patreon and put it into play, because, let's be honest, they pay the bills. Their vote matters a little bit more. But I also appreciate all of you who just listen. So patreon.com/barrelhouse. Now on with the show. So Willett Family Estate bottled small batch rye, 55% alcohol, 110 proof. This is a cask strength release. This is a 4-year bottle. This is a really good rye. It's a little bit hard. This is another one that's a little bit hard to find, but it's not like Buffalo Trace hard to find. It's not like George T. Stagg or an Eagle Rare or something from like that. It's not a go hunting for it. I see this pretty regularly, just not all the time. This is it's really sweet on the nose. It's got like a sweet tea, herbal, honey and caramel. It's floral, like a nursery. Like, it is very flowery. There's like a nice, fresh baked marble rye thing going on, like that dense baking spice kind of thing on the nose. There's a little, I don't know if that, there's a little apple. It's like a funky apple, like maybe a pear, but I think it's closer to apple, but it's got like a little bit of an extra tang on it. Something a little more, all I can think of is like treble-y. Like if you could assign bass and treble to a smell and you started with an apple and added treble and not bass, that's kind of what I get here. It's like a treble-y apple. This has treble-y apple on the nose. It's really good. It's a really dense nose. The higher proof does not really come through. A little bit. It's a little bit hot on the nose, but not crazy. It's way spicier on the palate than the nose would indicate. It's a thick, peppery, spicy. It's not super hot, but it's got a lot of baking spice and pepper. There's like a dark fruit thing going on. Let me get back in there. I was gonna say like black cherry soda first, but it's not quite that sweet. Maybe a little more raisiny, but it is like that dark, dense, dark fruitiness. There's still tea on the palate, but it's like that Lipton honey ginseng green tea. Like the 20-ounce bottle of that Lipton honey ginseng green tea. Heavy on the honey, light on the ginseng, definitely green tea. There's a citrus note in here, like lemon zest. It's kind of astringent. There's definitely like a little bit of like a medicinal astringency here. Not as much as you get with like a lot of scotches, but there is a little bit of astringency. There's some caramel sweetness, way more caramel than brown sugar, but it's a nice palate. There's a lot going on. It's a really dense palate. The finish is super herbal. It is herbs and spices, like green vegetation. There's a bunch of black pepper and barrel spice, especially around the front. Like my tongue tingles as it rolls off the back, and it leaves like the front of my tongue tingles as I swallow, and it's definitely like a lot of black pepper, barrel spice. It's clingy and very dry. My mouth is very like sapped out of moisture. It's a pretty long finish, although it doesn't evolve much. It kind of starts with those flavors and they kind of roll together and drop off together. There's not a lot of weaving in and out or play there. It varies much so like, this is what it smells, or this is what it finishes like. This is how it starts, rolls through those flavors, and it just kind of stays there. It's really good. I mean, this is a delicious rye. There's a reason why it's a little bit hard to find, even at the $55-ish MSRP. It's I think it punches above its weight. I think I've had worse ryes that cost. I've definitely had worse ryes that cost more. Well, speaking of cost more, call that a segue, folks. We'll pour some of this Michters Barrel Strength rye for a comparison. Now, what I love about this is, as a not huge rye person, the Barrel Strength Michters really rolls a flavor profile that is close to rye, but a little bit off typical in a way that I really find appealing. It's a little more chocolatey, a little more like coffee and cocoa. Some of those really strong baking spicy notes have kind of taken a back seat. The herbal notes are a little less in your face. Like it plays around in that wheelhouse, but it shifts a little bit to a little bit less typical. So I want to see how that stacks up preference wise. It's about the same proof. It's a little bit higher. It's like 1% higher, I think. Yeah, it's like about 1% higher proof than the Willett. So I just want to see how they stack up. The Michters is way sweeter on the nose, like way sweeter on the, and the Willett is considerably more herbal. So here's an interesting thing. I like the flavors on the Michters much better. I love that dark chocolate note in that Michters has. There's a dark chocolate like baking cocoa note on this Michters that I just love, but it does come through a little bit thinner than the Willett. Not a lot. Like there's definitely I would say, better notes to my palate in the Michters. It's just not as dense as the Willett. The Michters is a little bit higher proof, but it's not even as noticeable. The Willett comes through hotter, even though it's a hair lower proof. The Willett is definitely more tea-like. Neither one of these have that dill note that I really dislike, and I'm very happy about that. The Michters is much sweeter on the nose, but not as sweet on the palate. It's a little more bitter, but that's like that cocoa note. But the Michters, I think, has a much better finish. I'm gonna be honest, these are closer than I would have expected. And I think, honestly, depending on my mood, there are definitely days I would choose the Willett over the Michter. If I walked into a store right now and I had to pick the Willett for $55 or the Michters for $125, $150, I would buy the Willett. I would buy 2 bottles of the Willett and enjoy it twice as much. I definitely don't think the extra price is justified at this high of a differential here. I think I'm surprised. I think I would definitely pick the Willett going forward. I do like the Michters an awful lot. Like, I'll definitely buy this Michters again if it ever comes around again, but that cocoa note is really great. I do like that a lot. Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, I think it's an interesting comparison. It's not what I would have thought. That is not what I would have thought going into this, but here we are at this. If you pick up either one of these, let me know what you think. I would definitely say try to find this Willett. This Willett it's like the green top. You'll see the green top and the purple top if you go out and about. This is not the purple top. The purple top, I believe, is 6 years. This is 4. So pick one up, let me know what you think. You can send your questions, comments, concerns to barrelhousepodcast@gmail.com. www.barrelhousepodcast.com for social media stuff, merch, more. Barrelhouse.live for live streams in the YouTube. And as I said at the top of the show, you can go to patreon.com/barrelhouse to support the show. Keep the lights on, buy me a drink, whatever it is you may need. There should be a live stream about 3 days after this hits the feed. So let me know what you think about that. Please stop in for that. That would be at barrelhouse.live. And as always, until next time, drink whiskey, be merry, and take care.
The Barrel House is written, produced, and hosted by Joe Kane, and it's a proud member of the Earglue Media Network. Views and opinions expressed on this show belong only to the mouth they came out of. And as always, please remember to drink responsibly. Slanjava.